Hello, welcome to my channel and welcome to my website. My name is Daryl and this is Programming in Any Language. The website is www.blackdesktop.com. It's where you'll find all my videos organized in logical order. You can begin with the basics and then move on to advanced concepts. Or you can start with the speed track and build an application from scratch, which should pique your curiosity with a desire to learn more. The next piece in our file processing section is how to write a file, the basics. You have a lot of options with saving data. Because of all those options, it's easy to get confused when first starting out. To get a good understanding of what's going on, it's best to learn how to just write one record to disk, just one. Once we know how to do that, we can explore how to handle large files, and you'll be doing that in no time at all. If you look at the intro video, you saw the flowchart you're seeing right now. No matter how many options we throw into saving data or even reading data, what you are seeing right now never changes. We open a file. We process records. We close a file. Those three things must always happen. The thing is, you have choices. Where should we write our file? Can we add records to our file? These are just some of the options we have. Let's take a look at the basics. I'm going to write a very simple program to kind of just demonstrate how you write a file, and then we're going to expand on it as we move forward. For starters, I'm going to take my form that I've got right in front of me right now. I'm going to create a text box. So I'll pop that in here, and we'll bring this down here and just call it text in. We'll give it a name. TXT. Let's call it input. And let's change the font of this thing so we can see it. We'll make it nice and large too right away. So we'll hit that, make it bold, and maybe make it a size 10. Just to make it a little bit bigger than it might be. So this is going to be the input we'd have. We'll put a label out here called put off the side here, and we'll just make this a standard label, which is going to have nothing in code. It's going to simply say enter something. And we'll also change the font on this. Make it a 10, and let's move it around here, and we'll leave it something like that. So we've got our basic programming set up this way. Now, what I want to do is I want to enter something in the text box, and once I enter it, I want to process it. So I'm going to create a button called process down here, and we'll say process. And we'll change the font on this too right away. And make it a little bit bigger as a button. And we're also going to give it a name called button process. BTN PROCESS for button process. And let's kind of modify all these things. Format. Align their middles, and then let's move this to the center of the screen horizontally, and then take this guy right here, and we're going to center him center him on the form also horizontally. We'll leave it where it is for now, and I'm going to make a copy of this thing and Control C it, Control V it. And we'll make this our exit button. Like to have an exit button. EXIT. Button exit. BTN EXIT. And right away we'll code this thing. And we'll just say / close form. And this will be this.close. Done. That's done now. So we've got our program ready to go. Now, what I want to do is I want to basically enter what's in here, process it. That's going to send it off to a text file. And remember, if we look at our text files, they look something like this. We want to be able to open the file. We're going to process it here and then close the file. And I'm going to show you when you do this and how you do all this. So keep this in mind as we go through this process. For starters, I'm going to go into my processing. First of all, let's try to make sure the program works. Here's my program. I can type in DAFFY. It works. Of course, this button does nothing, so it will do something shortly, but so it works there, and this does my exit, so it does that for me. So that's great. We're seeing that process. Now, what I'd like to do is I'd like to click on the process button and have it do something. What I want it to do is I want it to open my file. Then I want it to write that particular record out to disk and then put it someplace. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to establish a variable. I'm going to establish a variable right here. Actually, I'm going to put it up in the global area so it can be seen by any other forms I happen to create, because we're going to expand on this program a little bit. So let's go ahead and inside the form, I'm going to set up a string called str input. And we'll just give this a label, input from the text box. We'll just call it that. So we're going to use that thing down the road. My process button, that's what I'm going to do. What I need to do is, remember, I need to open a file, process it, and close it. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to have to go up to the using area here and add my using system IO. There it is right there, and grab that. So that's going to allow me to use the stream reader and the stream writer, which allows me to write and read files. And it allows me to create these things down in here. So in my button process now, I want to do a couple things. I want to open the file. I want to process the data, and I want to close the file. Okay, so these comments will help me actually structure my program on the way I want to actually do it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a stream writer in my open file. So right here I'm going to say stream writer. And I'm going to call it output file. And that will create my stream reader, my stream writer. Then I'm going to name that thing. So output file, since I have it now, is going to be equal to file.create text. And we're going to call that file my test file.txt. Oops, I need to put a quote in front of it and after it. It's assuming that I have that there, so let's back up on this one here and then put our, oh, come on, give me my comment. It's giving me two of them here. There we go. Now it's happy, just about. And this is going to be creates the file on disk. And now I'm going to go ahead and that's all I really need. But I wanted to close the file now, so I'm set that up down here. I'm going to say this is simply going to be output file dot close, much like you do close a screen. Much like you close your form when you've got your form created. So that closes the file right here. All that leaves me is my processing piece now on what I want to do here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this process piece. I'm going to say what I want to do here is I want to grab what's in my text box. So I'm going to say my variable str input, and I really want to say a capital I up here. I like to capitalize the word I'm using there. String input is equal to my txt input.text. That's going to grab whatever's in my text box and put it into string input. That'll put it into the variable. Now what I can do is I want to write this particular thing to disk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say output file, write line, string input. Just like that. And then it's going to close the file. So let's do that. We're going to go ahead and file save this thing. Save all. And we're all set. We're going to run the program now. And I'm going to put in the word Daffy. D-A-F-F-Y. And I'm going to say process. Okay, it didn't tell me too much. It just kind of it did what it was supposed to do. But it didn't tell me too much. So we're going to fix all that later. But right now, it should have successfully put the word Daffy out on disk someplace. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Let's take a look. Let's close our program. And let's pull this thing off the side. Well, actually, we can leave it right here. And I'm going to go into the folder that I've got here. Let's create a folder. Or let's go into our folder. Maybe I have it right here. I'll just go ahead and open one. File Explorer. And navigate to it. I happen to know I've got it somewhere over here. Somewhere over here. And I was working on something in here. In this sandbox right here. And this is our write a file program that we created before. I'll go into that write a file program. There's our solution file and the folder that contains everything else. I'm going to dig deep down into this write a file folder. And you'll notice that there's a bunch of things. The form, program, CS, all this stuff's there. But there's also this bin folder up here. I'm going to go into the bin folder. I'm going to go into this debug folder. And in here, you'll see the exe file. This is the one that I actually ran when we actually created this program. But we're also going to see my testfile.txt sitting up here. So the program, when you set it up like we did here, we set up this create text my file and didn't give it any location, it puts it into the bin debug folder, /bin/debug folder, and that's where you have it. I can open this thing up by double clicking on it, and it comes up as a text file, which I'll bring down here, and there's the word Daffy sitting out there just like that. Cool. Okay, well that's kind of great. Let's leave this thing off to the side. Well, let's close it up right now. Let's go back into this thing and run it again. If I run it again, I can now put in the word Tweety. Hit process, and it should be done. Wish I would have said something. It's kind of unnerving to see it like this. Close it up. Once again, I'll go into that folder. Right here, probably. There it is. Yeah, let's go look at the my text file.txt right here. And it's got Tweety in it. Daffy's gone. Daffy's out of there. What's happening is, if you look at the code, we did a create text right here. And that ended it at this point in time. You know, nothing else happened. And then we wrote our record out here and we closed the file. So it's allowing me to put in one thing and one thing only, and that's it. And it closes it off. So interesting. Now I'm going to make a slight change to this. I'm going to change this to, instead of create text, I'm going to say append text. So let's go ahead and copy this line. And change this word to append. And then comment out the first one. So now we're going to be able to append the text. Now watch what's going to happen. We didn't do anything at Daffy. Daffy's still there. We can see that if we could take a look at it. Or Tweety, rather. Tweety's still there. So we've got that thing there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to run this program. This time I'm going to add the word Daffy and do a process. Then I'm going to do an exit. We'll take a look at the program again. Look at my text file.txt. Daffy was added to the file. It appended it. It didn't destroy the data. So a create text destroys the data and enters your data into it as a new file. When you append, it looks for the file, and if it doesn't see it, it'll create it new. But if it does see one, it'll simply add your text to the back end of this thing. I can do this a number of times now. I can actually go ahead and start this program and put in Sylvester, hit process, clear this out, put in Foghorn, process, put in Porky, process, and put in Bugs, process, and end. Now if I go out to my folder, my text file.txt, all those things are there. It appended all the data to that file and left it sit out there in this particular area right here. Now, what I can also do is I can dictate where this is going to go. I've got a folder. I'm going to actually copy this. I'm going to rename this thing right here, this append file.txt. Now, I'm going to do one more thing on it. I'm going to go ahead and copy it. And then I'm going to place it in here and comment out the other one. So we're not using that. We're going to be using this new one here. This append text, though, instead of the my text file.txt right here, I'm going to give it a location. So all I need to do for that is I simply need to put in the ampersand sign in front of this. Just like that. And then put in the path that I would like it to go into. So I can say C:, right there, right after the quotation mark here, C:, and I think I have something called stuff and a backslash. Let's double check that real quickly. Make sure I've got a folder like that. I'm going to pull down my C drive and take a look. I've got this folder sitting right here, and I do have a C drive right here, and I've got, I don't see a folder called, they're garbage. I have something called garbage out there. Let's use garbage. Okay, so we'll use that thing. It's got nothing in it, so I'm going to go ahead and say not stuff, but garbage. So what's happening here is when I run this program now, it's going to find an empty file, nothing in the garbage folder here, but it's going to place my new file in there. So let's go back and go ahead and run this program, do a file save on it. And we'll do a run. Program comes up. We'll put in, well, let's put in Foghorn first. Remember, it's appending. Process, clear it, and we'll put in Sylvester. Process. We'll put in one more, and we'll put in Yosemite. We didn't use him yet. Process. And we'll end the program. If we dig down into our garbage folder right now, we'll notice that my text file.txt was created there in the path that I suggested it go. If I double click and open this thing, Fall Garden, Sylvester, Yosemite are all sitting in a notepad format. Very easy to read. We can actually use it like that. So that puts it in that particular place. So that works. So we've got our input. We end up opening the file. We close the file down here and we put this processing right in here, where we can actually do the processing of this file one at a time. Now notice I've been telling it the right line each time. I didn't use anything else like a loop or anything like that, but basically just showing the bare bones of how you might put this thing together. So it's not really tough as long as you take it one step at a time. Future videos will expand on this process. And of course, we need to explore how we read these files as well. We'll get to that. Well, there was a lot in this video. What you need to take out of all this is using System.io gives you access to the Stream Writer and Stream Reader objects. Commenting your code helps you develop your code. By default, your file is written to the /bin/debug folder. Create text blows away anything with the same name. Append text lets you add data to the end of the file. The @ sign lets you specify a file location. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to use the website for easy access to all my videos. If you get a chance, please subscribe. That way you will be notified when something new is available. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.